We should maybe do it, get a laugh going, and then do it.
No, this is fake.
Yeah, this is fake.
Also, maybe we'd look into the one camera, and look into the other one, and then look into the other one. We should go there, then we should go there, then we should go there, and then we go back to the middle. Can you feel that sensorially?
Yeah.
Kevin and Eddy!
We're friends.
We're friends.
Okay. Both look to the camera and say we're friends.
Okay, wait. 1, 2,
Two,
3.
three.
We're friends.
But friends can be attached
For sure.
as such. There's like there's an intimacy in securely attached friendships, I believe.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, but can you tell me when you were hooked on me?
I believe I was hooked on you. The image I have of you is we were doing like some sort of exercise in theater clown class.
Theater clown.
And you were, right? And we were doing young parts of ourselves, you know?
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. And you were doing like a kick. Do you remember?
No.
You were kind of doing a walk and a kick. Like, it's a very classic Eddy move to me for this reason. And I was like, I would play with that kid, but we're adults.
Yeah.
We still are.
We still are.
I mean, we're adults.
We're adults. So then you were like, just because of my kick? So everybody, find love, do a nice kick.
I think it's my young playful part was like, oh, there's a cool person to play. Like they want to play.
Like they're on the same playground and they are like, yeah, I vibe with you.
Yeah, vibe with you, safe to play. You know, because I think it is a very young feeling of, oh, they get it.
Yeah.
We're going in.
It's very much playground and you're like, lock eyes, you're like, we got this.
Yeah.
Same page.
Exactly. And that's a feeling. That's a very clear feeling for me. Mm-hmm. It's like something's like congruent, like we're going this way, you know? And that's what it's about, I think. That's like, for us, that's what I would put the attachment is, somewhere in the realm of play. When do you feel that we became attached?
For me, it was like, I was just excited to see you, liked your vibe, interested in the conversations we were having, seemed like you're super intelligent, and I vibe with that a lot. And then we just had this really natural, playful energy. But I think the moment of like, poof, like, there's no turning back for me and Kevin. We're attached. We were taking cabs home. This is like 4 a.m, which I never do, and I did.
Yeah.
And we were like, and there was this moment that I realized, and I was like, oh, I need Kevin in my life forever. And I was like, Kevin, and I got out of the car. We got to my spot, and you had like agreed to pay for the whole cab journey. And I looked at you, and I was like, I love you.
All it took was me paying for the cab journey.
He paid for the cab, so I loved him.
Noted. Pay for cabs, find love.
And we're pretty secure.
I think so. Let's find out.
Next thing we should talk about is...
avoidant. You think?
Yes. Keeping own space.
Yeah, just watch where you're putting your arms.
Okay.
So there's energy expenditure and energy conservation, right? And if we weren't so secure, if one of us were avoidant, which one? It would probably be me.
Probably be you.
So I could be deactivating myself from our connection.
Yeah.
If it was too much for me, I could shut it down internally.
Yeah.
And just stay kind of flat. Inside, I'd be feeling it, the same playful connection that we have, but not expressing it. And you expressing it to me could be like
too much almost, and you want to get more of that deactivate. You actually deactivate more because you're like wanting to create space.
Yeah, hypothetically, this isn't me, of course.
Not you, of course.
But yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's like I think this is an important thing that people maybe don't know is like the deactivation or the avoidance is often a strategy. It's not that the person doesn't want the playful connection. It's that as a strategy, because that's too much, they kind of shut it down.
Yeah, and they're basically through that behavior creating the space that they need, which is a need which develops actually evolutionarily.
100%. Because at some point they had to. The strategy doesn't come from nowhere. At some point it was probably serving these hypothetical people, you know? they had to do that to be safe, to move along in their development, to relate to people. But now they've done it so well that it's like an automatic response.
Yeah.
So sometimes they don't even know they're doing it.
And so it shows up in romantic relationships or in, specifically actually romantic relationships or any a friendship where this person is showing up like this and they're not even aware that their behavior is like that. They're being perceived as being super distant.
Yeah.
Potential partners are like, well, what's up with this guy, Kevin? He's freaking
this
like,
guy, Kevin.
he's distant. Like, how come he's not, is he into me?
Yeah. And so if you were coming towards me and I was having that stance or that deactivation or that kind of avoidant internal working model of I got to hold it down for myself.
Yeah.
Because nobody can really hold it down for me. I can't really trust that I can lean on Eddy, even though I know I can. I can't really trust that I can lean on Eddy, so I got to make sure I'm good at all times.
Yeah, and that has developed over time, and it's a very firm pattern inside of this person. And so even, the way they operate in the world ends up being like, oh, I got to rely completely on myself, because even if I commit in a relationship, I'm giving away my independence and everything that I've worked for.
Yes.
Basically, I'm on this path of I'm just do everything for myself because I can't rely on anybody because nobody's ever been there for me to rely on.
Exactly.
So I'm just like this, and someone tries to commit with this person and they're like, whoa, taking away everything.
Yeah. So they built this wall to keep close feelings out, and now they just keep everything out.
Yeah.
Even though deep down we all need this.
It.
Yeah. It's like the scene in Good Will Hunting. We love Good Will.
We love Good Will Hunting. It's not your fault.
But it's not that scene.
It's not that
Do you know
scene.
the scene I'm talking about?
I know the scene you're talking about. It's in the bedroom. Minnie Driver is beautiful.
Yeah.
Asking about, she says.
Yes. They're in conflict.
They're in conflict. She's asked him to go with her to the place where she's going.
California, maybe?
California. Yeah. They're in Chicago.
Yeah. She's really smart.
She's beautiful and intelligent, and she's working on something.
Yeah.
School.
Yeah. She's working on school. Yeah.
Yeah. They've just started dating, really. It's a couple of months.
Yeah.
And she's basically fallen in love. They've gotten attached, baby.
They have gotten attached.
They have gotten attached.
But they're doing the dance.
Because they have different attachment styles.
And it comes through really strong when she's like, tell me you don't love me.
Yeah, and he's just like deadpan.
Yeah.
I don't love you.
Yeah. But inside
he's like,
yeah.
I want to fight for you, and you're so amazing.
Yeah.
But he just has to be like, because she's asking him to give up his space, go with her to freaking Cali.
Yes, exactly. But that's a great example. It's a more extreme example, but that's what the movies are. Is like they just have heightened examples, but it's a really good one because internally, that's of course not his experience.
And he loves her.
He loves her, but it's just the
because how the movie ends, we know. Sorry.
Yes. No. Hey, check it out. But to let somebody in that close has normally not been safe for him, Because
he can't rely on this person who he lets in, right?
Exactly. And the people in the past who he's let in hurt him. And in that movie sometimes physically hurt him. But it's this thing between like our brain and our body, our brain and our feelings of we know this is a different person. He knows that's a safe person.
But the pattern
and the emotional pattern doesn't know yet.
Yeah.
So it has to kind of catch up. And in that moment, in that scene, it has not caught up.
Yeah. And he's like, okay, save myself, protect myself. Hey, Minnie Driver, you gorgeous actress.
Yeah.
And this is a really great scene, even whatever, awesome.
Yeah.
Yo, I don't love you.
Yeah. And what it costs, like the ultimate cost. Let's say Skylar, Minnie Driver, was securely attached. What would be a way that Goodwill could have gone? What would have been a gooder way for Goodwill to go about that in that moment? Maybe not in that moment, but what is his need? I think you said it earlier.
Because he needs space,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And if she's securely attached, she could probably hear that. I mean, she's a fictional character.
She's trying actually to have an honest conversation with him.
Yeah.
She's like, tell me you don't love me.
Yeah.
Hey, tell me, like, because I know, she's basically saying, I know you do, so what's the issue?
Exactly, yes.
She's trying to be, like, effectively communicating, but maybe she also doesn't have the tools to be like, hey, Goodwill, this is stressing you the fuck out.
Mm-hmm,
yo, what's going on? Because I know you love me. You're not spending all this time with me and la la la.
Yeah. And it's tricky because him articulating that he needs space, or one who leans avoidantly attached,
It's vulnerable.
is vulnerable. So it's tricky.
Yeah.
But that's the move towards effective communication, is to be able to know, right? Like you said, like having the awareness first and then being able to express it. And then the thing is, once you do that, you're winning, because the person can either hear it and that's great, or they can't,
don't.
and then that's also great.
So then they can walk their walk. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I don't need someone who doesn't understand that my needs are this and they need to be met in this way.
Yeah, it's clean. It's just a different type
Clear.
of clean. Yeah.
Oh, wait, avoidant though. Whatever.
Okay.
Oh, are you okay?
I'm getting a little
Do you
sweaty.
feel like we're good?
Yeah.
No, but are you really?
Well,
I think, is it okay if,
I'm feeling hot.
do you want to hold hands though? Oh, no. So, something that I've been learning, being an anxious person, so you're in the dance, right?
Yeah.
Avoidant is going away, anxious person toward, avoidant going away, anxious person towards. And then eventually something happens where the anxious person gets the intimacy that they crave and need, right?
Yes.
And the soothing.
Yes.
And so it happens, and then they forget completely about the misery of, right? And so then it's like, poof, completely forget. And so then this dance starts again. Anxious person, avoidant person. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
But then this anxious person starts to equate love
With the dance.
with the dance.
Yeah, I know. That was really well said. And
Thank you.
and how do you know that you're even doing the dance?
You don't until you know.
Yes.
You don't until you do.
Exactly. We've been doing the waltz this whole time.
I mean, I didn't know for a long time. I will let you know, as you know, I'm anxious style. So it's like, I didn't know for a long time. So it's like, oh my God, I just have all these like unreciprocated love relationships. I just like keep on having a crush. I haven't like dated anyone in 8 years. Woe is me. And then I started doing the research. One of my friends was like, hey, you should look into this.
Yeah.
It may reveal something to you. It's about like how you got attached to your parents or your caregivers when you were younger and how it relates to your relationships now. And I was like, huh, interesting.
Yeah.
Did the research and I was like, oh, that's why I'm like in physical pain when I'm like starting to get to know someone. And I'm just like, well, they don't like me anymore because they didn't reply to that text immediately. So and every time there's a disagreement, I'm like, oh, we're gonna break up.
Yes, because the system's on. It's really on.
It's like activating.
Yes. So it's energy. Like before avoidance, down regulating, and people who lean anxious, over regulating. And then that means, like, as you're saying, it's harder to like soothe that part. So you're fighting for soothing. Boom, I got it. Back to square one. Oh shit, we're dancing again.
Yep.
Yeah. But it sounds like that's a great openness. So you see that, you do the research, you see it, and it's like, and then wanting to apply it rather than judge it. Because what I'm hearing you say is like, that's my pattern. That's not you.
It's not me. I'm not identifying with that. That's a behavior.
Yes.
That's built into me, into my habits, into my relationships with people, due to things that I am not even aware of that happened when I was little baby up, you know? Like, I didn't even know. It's gotten solidified over the years because that's what it do. That's what it do. That's what habit do.
And in a weird way, it's like shout out to our attachment systems because they had to do their thing.
They had to.
Yeah.
It's almost like you save something to deal with for later because you couldn't.
I like that.
I mean, that's really related to a lot of things in trauma and stuff too.
Yes.
Like you end up processing it much later in life because your body just saves it.
Yeah.
Like, you can't deal with it right now.
Totally. And how are we supposed to deal with it right now when we are relying on other people to take care of us when we're young? Once we can start to be self-reliant, then we can like look at some of these old things that aren't serving us and like maybe update them or shift them.
And align them with what we maybe need.
Yes.
Which is at the core of attachment style, is like understanding your needs and getting them met. And that is perfectly okay. No shame in that. Which I think our society maybe doesn't give us that permission or even openness.
I'm with you. It makes you think of the text again, because like the avoidant approach is like, don't text, like play it cool, or whatever they say in the dating game, right? It's
Oh
like,
my
play it
God.
cool, wait 5 days,
Oh.
you know, and then
Make them sweat.
you make them sweat. Yeah. But that's really feeding into the anxious avoidant.
Because the
dance.
anxious, oh man.
And on the anxious side, it's like, oh my God, they haven't. So they're wanting to text more and do the double text, triple text. It's almost like the new playing it cool or the new triple text is just like stating your needs.
Yeah.
That's the coolest shit in town.
Yeah. Be communicative.
Yeah.
Yo.
Yo.
I mean, yo.
I thought you were gonna tell me your needs.
No, an example of that is me in a recent relationship. I'll bring it up. I feel fine to bring it up. Me in a recent relationship, it was like I'd known this person maybe 3 weeks. And already I was feeling like, whoa, needs not being met. And I'd done some research knowing, it's okay to have needs and it's okay for them to be met. Actually, perfect. Get your needs met. And I was just like effectively communicated this. I was like, yo, I didn't say yo, but I would have, I know we're just in the getting to know each other phase of this relationship, but I don't feel like my needs are being met.
That's sweet.
And I was like, I know that that's not what you're intending. I know that I may come across as needy and you may come across as distant. That's what I'm sensing. And I think those are just the way we've learned how to operate. And I know it's not your fault or my fault, but I'm going to let you know.
That's amazing.
Boom. And what did the person do? They were like, yo, love this communication that you're giving, ! I'm free for a call right now. Want to talk? Boom. Deal with it right now. Nip it in the bud. Don't play a dance and have the resentment built in. Mic drop.
We're secure.
We're secure.
We are.
Pretty secure.
I think we are.
We are.
I
Any
trust.
doubts?
No,
I trust you.
I trust you.
Contender?
Trustful.
Oh yeah. Wait. Falling. Feeling safe, feeling you're able to rely on somebody without them like taking over your life, This kind of idea of feeling like I can live my own life. I have someone who cares about me and I care about them and I can be happy. We can get closer to that if we're communicating clearly like this. And it is tough at the beginning, but really it's a way more clear way to get there than like, I'll just play this game.
No one's winning that game. I was once in a dance class.
Of course you were, as we do.
So this dance teacher was like, we were talking about giving and receiving weight and like picking up our partner. And they said, if you can't feel the weight of the floor through your partner's bones, don't give them your weight. And I thought, what a beautiful thing to say. Because of course, if I'm leaning on you and I don't feel that you're sturdy and stable, I'm not going. And the same is true emotionally. It's not a physical thing, but it's like if I don't have a feeling that you can hold this.
You can take it.
Yeah, I don't go.
Don't go. And that's secure people who live in this world securely, which is not me, except for my friendship with Kevin, and other things too, but romantically for sure not. Secure people in romantic relationships, they know as like a fact in their body, as like this is, that they deserve love. And that anyone who's not going to be able to meet that, they don't really have the time of day for that person. Because they on a basic level, they understand that they deserve love. And if they read any vibe that's different from that, they lose interest.
But sometimes you read the attachment literature and it's like, they have this question, is love enough?
Is love enough? Ooh, baby, that's a big one.
The suggestion is love is essential, but then also to have the communication around it and have the somewhere leaning towards secure attachment or understanding and respect of each other's attachment styles. So it's like love and that. It's tricky for me. I find that a tricky place.
So why is it tricky for you? I'm just gonna push it back on you.
Yeah. I think it's tricky for me because I want to say
yes.
Yes, I want to say absolutely.
You want to.
Yeah. And I believe that if you're in that, if it's if it is love, true love, like not an idea of love, but actually a grounded sense of love, like these skills and these things we're talking about just have to
are
exist
inherent
there.
inside of
Yes.
it. But I think though that what maybe that statement is getting at is that because we are not aware of our attachment styles, even the idea of love is different, right?
Yes.
This is what you're talking about with the meanings of these, the definitions of these statements, right? Of these, like, what is love? What is da-da-da? So people are equating love. Anxious people equate
Yes.
love with their activation, you know, with the following the distant, avoidant person, you know, right? So they're equating that. So then their idea of love really is not what you're talking about, like love.
Yes.
It's like love, right?
Yeah.
And so then it isn't enough because that's based in an illusion or a fantasy.
I like the way you're putting this. It's almost as if love's in there, but it's missing each other. Like it's being channeled towards the other, but it's like missing. It's not being encoded in the way the other person understands it.
Yeah.
And that's sad, really. I mean, if you think about, like, it is in there, but it's not landing how they'd want it to.
Obviously, secure is what we all really need, but it's not that
Need and deserve, right?
need and deserve,
Yeah.
and it should ask for.
Yes. And even in friendships, looping back around to you and I, it's like how to go about this in
You
friendships.
and me,
Nobody's
baby
but
you and me.
How can this exist in friendships? Like, how could we build secure attachment relationships? Of course, they're out there, but often people talk about them in romantic relationships. But of course, this is also showing up in friendships.
Yeah.
For me, in romantic relationships, I lean anxious because I'm often checking in or wanting to make sure we're clear. Like, says the counselor, I'm always wanting to, like, talk about it in romantic ways, right?
Yeah.
But in a friendship, I sometimes can be perceived by other Plutonic friends.
Plutonic, from Pluton.
My friends from Pluton may think I lean more avoidant
Yeah.
because I am in a place of independence or a place of self-reliance. And I am in those places. I'm not exclusively there, but I am there quite a bit.
Yeah.
So it's like how that's showing up in friendships is interesting to track. And that's like a newer thing that I've been finding myself noticing with, like, the people in my life, including you.
Well, we had a little talk about this because you're a counselor, and I love counselors and have had many, and think it's very important work in our society. Let me just blow some steam up your ass there. So I really can communicate well with counselors because we're thinking in the same kind of scope.
Sure.
As an artist, I'm trying to make the world better. There's
Totally.
humanitarian need always at the bottom.
You, in a way, are like an embodied, you and your art
Okay,
practice.
no steam up the ass.
You and your practice is like embodied counseling. That almost feels like it's reducing it because it's more than that, but it's the embodied version of it. That's what I
Oh my
think.
God,
Yeah.
stop. Oh my God.
I'm just a head. I'm just a floating head floating around saying things, and you're an embodied artist. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, great. Moving on to what I was saying though. We had a conversation, or it would come into the conversations that we were having, where we would talk, where I would say to you, "Oh, I'm having this situation show up with someone," and it wasn't. I'm not trying to get free counseling from you. We were just having a connection and talking about things. And I'd say I probably revealed to you how anxious I was about things, like how I feel in romantic relationships. I'm often just give, and then just feeling not reciprocated. So we were already communicating on that level. So you understood and knew my needs by me just being vulnerable as a storyteller.
Yes. That makes sense to me. And I wouldn't have even articulated it like that, but that feels very true when you say it.
So you couldn't play into your Pluton land with the avoidance.
No. And I'm glad that it came across that way. And for me, meeting you, and when I meet other people, in spaces that aren't counseling spaces, I'm always trying to meet the person, you know? In counseling, I'm doing that same thing. I'm trying to meet the person, but I'm noticing the patterns more because that's part of the job. And like, you know, talking about those, working with those, but I'm trying to meet the person. I'd rather meet the person first.
Yeah.
But sometimes the person's quite far behind the pattern, but sometimes they're right there. And you were pretty close, like you were pretty there. That's why I paid for the cab. Love you.
Love you.
Oh, hold on.
Gotta check your texts.
No.
Oh, can I have one?
Attachment?